Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be using the Modern Renaissance, which is going to be a popular palette for me this month. I'm going to be doing a Get Ready With Me collab with somebody very special soon. And we're going to use this palette as part of that. But in any case, this palette here, everybody wants to dupe it. Bad Habit wants to dupe it, and I think did. But you know, something even more affordable? This. Wet n Wild. So Wet n Wild has reformulated, which I wondered about in the beginning because what the heck? They already have a really good formula. Why would they do that? But anyway, I think more than reformulated, they wanted to bring out palettes they already had and maybe a few more that had two more things in them transitions. So these are on the side then of the 10 pans are matte transitions. So when you're looking at this, I mean, who doesn't look at this and go, Modern Renaissance? And what a fine palette to do. Okay, so here it is right here. They really do look similar, right? All right, now this one has 4 more shades in it than this does. These are always 10 pans. So the shades not included then are Golden Ochre, Venetian Red, Vermeer, and Burnt Orange. Those 4 are not included. We'll make my left eye be the Anastasia Beverly Hills and the right eye be the Wet n Wild. I know a lot of people when they do these dupes, they don't tell you which one is which, but I don't know. I think that it helps you to see it perform if you know which one is which. So yeah, so we're going to start off with Tempera, and I'm going to come all over my lid with it. With Wet n Wild, which of course is this one. That's easy to see. That one right there. Now I'm going to take a fluffy blending crease brush. I'm going to come into a raw sienna, just barely tap in there. See that? It does not take much. Raw sienna. And let's just start blending that in the crease. I naturally picked it because of the orange. I'm going back in. I want to take it a little higher. And now I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to tip my head down like this in the mirror and look dead on with my head down. Now that will let me blend that up high enough that you will see that. It's just a little trick because one of my eyes is hooding and the other one is not. I feel like Meryl Streep in the movie It's Complicated when she wants to go to see the plastic surgeon to get the one eye pulled up. There, I'll just go around like this. I'm just going to walk around with my hand up like this so both eyes are even. This eye is hooding a little bit more than this eye. So when I tip my head down like that and do it, it helps me to create the line on the hooded eye so that it matches the eye that's not. Does that make sense? The corresponding shade in the Wet n Wild palette for Raw Sienna is over here. It's the transition shade. All right, so there we go. They're both up above. See, they're both right up above the crease. That's why it's a transition shade, because it's transitioning the crease to the brow bone. All right, I'm thinking they look, the Wet n Wild side now might be just a hair darker than the Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I'm gonna go back in there and even it. Now I'm going to take a stiffer crease brush. See, this one here doesn't, it's not as fluffy. See the difference between the two? This one's got give and bends, and this one is kind of stiff. What this brush will allow me to do is get more precisely in the crease with a color and leave it right there in the crease. So what I'm going to do is put a color in my crease with this to sink my eye back some. And the color that I'm going to choose to work with is one of my favorites in the palette, and that would be Love Letter. So I'm just going to kind of tap down inside of Love Letter, and as you can see, woo, look at that. Yeah? Don't be scared, okay? Now this time I'm going to tip my head back. By tipping my head back, it'll let me see the top right there in the crease, and that would be where your orbit is when you push on your eyeball right there, okay? Sorry, I want to get a bigger mirror for this. Tip your head back, and I'm going to lay that color right across the top of my eyeball, which is my crease. I like this mirror to see the bigger picture, but I still need to check it with the 10 times magnification, because you all know I can't see without my glasses. All right, now you can see that the crease has been deepened up and darkened with Love Letter, which is a beautiful pinkish color, pinky red. In the Wet n Wild palette, that's of course is this color right here, right? That's easy to see. Now I'm going to take the pencil brush, okay? And on the ABH palette, we're going to come right over here and we're going to get Cypress Umber. And I'm just going to, the pigmentation on that is sick. It's insane. Come over here on the outer corner and just take your brush and on the outer part of your lid, just stamp that down right there and twist. We're just twisting it right there on the edge. And then bring it, go ahead and bring that underneath your eye. Don't worry about the blend on that yet. Now with it on this palette, of course, it's the dark brown. So on the outer part of the eye, just right there on the lid in the crease, and twist. Twist your brush. It will help you get that color where you want it. Into the ABH. And now under, all the way across. Okay, if you have a small shader, I'm going to use the smudger brush, but if you, the smudger brush is usually used for under here, but if you have a smudger or a small shader, then what I'm going to do next is come into Warm Taupe and put that on my lid right next to Cypress Umber, but underneath Love Letter. And I'm going to grab a little bit of Cypress Umber with it and pull it in. So what we're looking at here is Warm Taupe over in the corner is lighter than it is on the edge. See, I'm just grabbing that little bit of Cypress Umber and blending, dragging it into Warm Taupe. Warm Taupe in this palette is the other transition shade, so let's get that. And drag the dark brown in with it so it's blended. Now take a clean blender brush and we're going to hold back, way back here on the end of the brush, so you're just applying a light amount of pressure because you don't want to blend everything away. You just want to kind of smooth the edges a little bit. So let's start over here and I'm going to pull Cypress Umber, blend it just a little. Just kind of go over. I'm just, you know, lightly dragging over all of these just to kind of blend and marry their edges together. Lightest amount of pressure. I cleaned off the pencil brush, but that's scary because that had the darkest brown on it, right? And now we're going to go into the lightest color in here with it. It is clean because see, it just looks, looks like it's not. But now we're going to come into Primavera. I'm going to kind of give that a little twirl around in there. My Primavera is probably going to hit pan soon. And now I'm going to come into the corner of the eye, and I will tell you, this is a lot more pigmented than the Wet n Wild. So I'm just going to drop that down in my tear duct. I'm going to hit a little bit on the inner corner and bring that, flick it in, and along the bottom. I'm going to get a little more and come up underneath the high part of my arch on my eyebrow. Let's take that blender and soften it out. The Primavera shade in here is right there, okay? And underneath. Blend. All right, I'm going to put on my eyeliner and mascara. I'll be right back. Okay, so the Modern Renaissance is a $42 eye and the Wet n Wild is a $5 eye. They wear the exact same amount of time. Both of them, I had them on for 9 hours and I don't think that anybody could tell the difference. I asked my husband, he couldn't tell the difference. I'm pretty confident that if you don't have $42, I'm not saying this isn't the best palette ever because it kind of is. This palette makes my top 5. I love this palette so much. I use this palette all the time. If I'm going to recommend a palette to somebody and say you really want to splurge and get something nice, this is the one. So I'm not going back on that by any means, but if you don't have $42 for it and you just want the look and you don't mind working just a tiny bit more for it, then this here is a great dupe. All right, my Fritzy family, I want to thank you for being part of the Fritzy family. And if you're not, then please just hit the subscribe button below. It looks like that. And when you click it, it will turn gray. That means you're subscribed. It was totally free. And if you wouldn't mind and you really want to like be one of the first ones to see my video or just want to be notified when you get my video, well then there's one of these bells. And if you ring my bell, then you'll be notified every single time I make a video. And everybody wants that, right? Especially me. All right, then if you aren't having a blessed day, then please go out and be a blessing to somebody else. And until next time, love you, see ya, bye, and I'm out.
Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm so happy to see you today. You're like, you don't see me, you're looking at a camera. Okay, but I imagine that you're all out there, butt naked, and that's how come I always laugh. No. Alright, I was taught to, when you're making speeches, to picture the audience naked. So, that's why I'm always goofing around, because you guys are naked, and you make me a little self-conscious. You believe that, don't you? And the new Wet n Wild 10 quad. It's 10 quads? Really? A quad is 4, so 10 of them would be 40. 40 shadows in this baby! What, you idiot. Wild. What? Okay, I looked up expecting to see you and seeing this mirror instead and it scared me. I was like, right in my face. Let me put my glasses on here because I can't see. Okay, so the 4 that they didn't... Oh, here you are, Peter. Okay, that was supposed to be funny. That was a joke from Hook. Remember when he goes up to Peter, because Peter's old? He goes up to Peter and he stretches his face back and he goes, oh, there you are, Peter. Whatever. All right, anyway. Go watch the movie. All right, let's get that off there. Woo, get off me, get off me, get off me. Get off me, get off me, get off me. Ah, woo. I have a friend. And let's not forget about this. Wow, I already forgot about it. Great. My mirror is wearing eyeshadow now. Let me put the eyeshadow on you. Whoa, talk about making you cross-eyed. Try putting your eyeshadow on your eye in the mirror. Hey Alexa, order 9 Rose in the Air Wet n Wild palettes. Okay, Google. Order me 9 Rose in the Air palettes. Are you guys going to smack me yet?